Hello React Native developers, what is going on? Welcome to Can It Be Done in React Native. This week we set some fitness goals. Hello guys, I hope you are well. William here, recording from beautiful Switzerland. Thank you so much for the great feedback on last week's video, and I apologize for the editing with the webcam, which was too big. In fact, it's not the first time I do the same mistake, so hopefully from now on I'm going to be much more careful, and hopefully this won't happen again. And thank you so much for sending me suggestions. These are extremely useful. In fact, today's episode is based on yet another fitness app, and it's because, if you look at my phone, I actually don't have much apps, and a lot of them are fitness apps. So without your suggestions, most episodes would be based on the same theme. So thank you so much. And in fact, I cannot wait to tackle some of the suggestions you sent me. I'm quite impatient to... some of the stuff you sent me is really ambitious. So can it be done in React Native? Oops. Let's cross our fingers. But at least I cannot wait to try to find out. And please keep sending me suggestions. My email is on the video description. And in this week's episode, we are looking at the Helpmate app, which is done from, I'm not sure if I should say Withings or Nokia, because Withings got bought by Nokia, but now it's became its own brand again. So I'm not sure. But so this is an app you get when you buy a smart device from them, and I bought the Smart Scale. I'm actually, on a side note, I'm actually a pretty satisfied customer. Usually, when I buy such device, I'm always feeling a bit guilty, like, you're spending money on a gadget. But actually, it was money well spent. I'm using it since more than 3 years actually now, and I'm really happy with it. And while using it, something really caught my attention. This series, Can It Be Done in React Native, really comes from the fact that since I became a React Native developer, every time I started to use regular apps on my phone, I was always thinking in terms of how is it done? How would it be done in React Native? And so this is something that caught my attention, and immediately I got distracted, and I was thinking about how would we do this in React Native? So in the app, you can set your target weight. And so if I drag the bubble here, you have this scrolling view, and you have this fancy animation where you can set your target weight. So immediately, first time I saw this screen, I got completely distracted because there was not the user thinking anymore, but there was a software engineer looking at the screen. And so I'm really excited about this week's episode because last week we did the Instagram stories, and it took us a long time to find the right strategy to implement the animation. But once we had the strategy and we had to do a couple of equations, once we had the math correct, the coding part was extremely trivial. And in fact, it was just a transparent scroll view, and we just had to write the right interpolation or do the right setting the right value using set native props. And in fact, we just had to copy and paste equations that we wrote before to copy and paste into the code, and it worked. We just had to adjust for the interpolation because we use a scroll view and so on. But except for a few details, the coding part was extremely easy. And this week's episode is actually quite the opposite. So we have here an example that looks pretty innocent, but the devil is in the detail, and I think there's a lot of small pieces we need to think about. And so again, how would we do this in React Native? Well, we have this welcome screen, which disappears when you tap. And here we have a regular scroll view. So my BMI is, so you see, let's say my BMI is 26.5. We go from minus 16.5 to 36.5, so plus 10 point BMI, minus 10 point BMI. So regular square view, which is a shame because I love empty transparent square view, which drive other kind of animations, but this time it's going to be just a regular boring square view. And so we move, we have 3 circles, and so the one in the middle animates, so it's scaled from, let's say, 1 to 0, or maybe a bit more than 1, meaning that it's bigger than the one at the bottom, to, seems to be, yeah, maybe something almost 0. So let's say from 0 to 1. And then the 2 other circles translate in opposite directions from half the height of the screen to, so from 0 to, if they are positioned in the middle, so initial position in the middle, and they go from, therefore, 0 to half of the height of the screen in opposite direction. So this part is pretty easy. And then we have the line in between. And first I was like, so first time I experienced this screen, I was like, oh, we would need to, so the line would be represented by a view, and then we would use set native props to set the height of the line. But actually, I think it's much easier than that. We can actually just draw a view of, assuming that the width of this line is 1 pixel, we would draw a view of height 1 pixel, width 1 pixel, and then we would scale y. We would do a scaling of the view in the y axis, and so that would allow us to have this nice line that is driven by the animation. So everything here can be done using interpolation, and then we have the values here, which needs to be set with set native props. So we listen to the animation value. We get as parameter a scrolling value, which we need to convert. So we need to convert from scrolling value to BMI, and then from BMI to weight. And then we can put the absolute value in the top, here in the top circle, relative value in the middle circle. And for this, we're going to use text input. So even though this is a read-only input, we use text input to display read-only values, because that's the only component where we can use set native props to update the text value. We cannot use the text component to do that. And I think that's pretty much it. So can it be done in React Native? Yeah, I mean, let's find out, but I think it can. So yeah, let's have a look. And before we get started, I would like quickly to tell you about React Native Sketch Elements. React Native Sketch Elements is the premium React Native project starter kit for iOS and Android. It contains 80% of what you need for your new React Native projects, from static analysis using ESLint and flow typings, React Native navigation, lots of UI components that are organized under 5 themes: food, social, music, photography, travel. So all the UI components you need. And if you have a new React Native project coming up, I absolutely recommend you check it out. This is what I use for every of my new React Native projects. I try to keep it up to date with the latest version of React Native libraries, Expo, latest React Native and React APIs. So I try to keep it as much as possible state of the art. You can check it out on iOS using TestFlight, or on Android by getting the APK or through the Expo client. So if you have a new React Native project, React Native Elements at react-native.shop/elements. Please check it out. All right, guys, let's get started. So yeah, I created a new blank project with Create React Native app. And since Friday, I just migrated from Atom to VS Code. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm very happy with it, actually. And actually, I think it's funny because part of it, I know that the team in Zurich works on this project at Microsoft. So I know that it's, at least parts of it are made in Zurich, if not most of it. So it's kind of cool. And also it's interesting because I used to use Atom and Flow, and now I'm migrating to VS Code and TypeScript. And I used to be originally using TypeScript for React Native development. And then I started to use Flow because, first of all, at the time, Flow was supported by default with Create React Native App, which is not the case anymore. Because of the Babel, it's basically a Babel plugin, so that made things very easy. And also Expo had Flow types. So for me, it just made sense to use Flow for React Native. But now, and especially you could use ESLint, rules, and so on because of the Babel integration. But now that TypeScript is also like there's a Babel plugin for it that makes that makes it extremely easy to use in a React Native project. And that also means, I think, that you can use the ESLint rules that you know and love, which I think that's a killer argument. And also Expo announced that they are slowly migrating to TypeScript. So I feel like now I have absolutely no reason to switch to use Flow anymore. And especially if you consider some of the drawbacks you have when using Flow, especially regarding like the breaking changes and between Flow versions, and you need to get the right typings for React Native, React. It seems to be a big mess, and the community typings are obviously not, because the community is much more smaller than TypeScript. You don't get as much high quality typings than for TypeScript. And also, I feel like, also for Flow, you should get, for a version of Flow, you should get like one recommended version of React, one recommended version of React Native. And at least these two components, like the types of React and React Native, should be like out of the box, really easy to use, and it doesn't seem to be the case. So, and I think it's interesting to see how now, basically, so if I use VS Code, I use TypeScript, how much of the stack Microsoft owns now. Because, so my code is on GitHub, I'm using VS Code, I'm using TypeScript, so the language is also owned by Microsoft. And I'm probably going to use App Center, so as well as the delivery now is owned by Microsoft. I think because App Center seems to have like, for the quality of in terms of quality of product, they seem to have like by far the best pricing. So I just think that it's interesting to notice how much Microsoft is owning of the stack. But I digress. So let's get started. So I have my empty project here, and I'm gonna return so weight. Let's call it weight target component, and I'm gonna give it my weight as property and my height, because you need the height to compute the BMI, right? So the BMI is, and we're gonna need to use this formula actually, is your weight divided by the square of your height in meters. So I give my height in meters, which is 177. So let's create this component here. Let me put this one back on. Okay. So we create weight target.js, and so this one we do export default as weight target from weight target, and here I have a code snippet to create components. perfect. And so we know the props, we have height and weight. Okay. So first thing we're gonna do, we know that it's a scroll view. So I'm gonna need style sheet. I'm gonna need scroll view, or actually animated, because it's an animated scroll view. And we know we're gonna use. So in terms of scroll view animation, we're gonna use the Y value. So I can already create some state here. Where, so type, yeah. So we know we have Y, which is an animated value. Okay, so I'm gonna create a container here, and I'm gonna put the scroll view inside. Animated scroll view. So I'm gonna create a style container. Just put flex 1. And so the scroll view, or the boilerplate for the scroll view, I never know it, but since we do it almost every week, I think I can just, look at the snack from one of the previous episodes and copy paste the whole boilerplate. And I think if I look at stories, I should have all the boilerplate that I need. So here we have a reference to the scroll view, which we're going to need in this case as well, and we're going to use React create ref to do that. So scroll equals React create ref. That's good. We use an absolute fill for the scroll view. That's good. So show horizontal scroll indicator, but here it's show vertical scroll indicator. Scroll event throttle 16 is good. Snap to interval we don't need. Content container style we don't need, because this time we use a proper scroll view. Animated on scroll, perfect, but here we listen to Y, not X. So I'm gonna extract Y from the state, which I need to initialize as well. And I think I'm gonna do this in the constructor. Okay. And so this use native driver, that's good. Deceleration rate we don't need, and it's not an horizontal scroll view. And then we need to put some content inside. And we're gonna call it graph. I think that's good. And so we need to calculate, we know that we have a BMI, which we can calculate from weight and 8. And the graph needs to go from minus 10 point BMI plus 10 point BMI. So just gonna do this from 2. And so first I need to get my BMI. So I have weight and height. My BMI is weight divided by height times height. And so from is BMI minus 10, to is BMI plus 10. So let's create this component here. So it's a graph component, and in the props we have from to okay, and so let me create some container style. I need to import the style sheet. And we need the blue background color. So if I go back to the elf mate, up, I can just color pick. Here we go. And then so I need to iterate from to from. So I can do iterations equals 2 minus from plus 1. And here I can use Lodash times iterations and then map. So we have value index and we can return a row. So with the so we can do the value is 2 plus from plus index, and I need to import text. And we need to set some, okay, let me go to Expo, see what's going on. So that's okay, wait. Okay, I have some syntax error here. Okay, we need to import graph. We need to import Lodash. Okay. So we need to add a key here. We're gonna use index, and then we need to run the BMI. Or should I? Maybe I should do it from. I'm gonna import Lodash here as well. And maybe I'm gonna run it here. Okay. We're gonna set some height. So for the rows, which we're gonna need to export in order to scale the scrolling values to BMI. So export const row height equals 100. And here we can create some styles. Oops. And some styling for the value, color white, font size, I'm not sure, let's try 24 maybe. Okay. Okay, so because of the bouncing, I mean, which we should disable anyway, bounce is false. Okay, we can add some padding. Align, so flex direction row, align items, center. And then if we go back to the helpmate example, so we see that there is also some, and actually, okay, I should make it smaller, 16, and then here I should write BMI. Okay. And then you see you have like these labels, so you have separators and labels. And so let's write them down. So we have, so we have for BMI 18, underweight, and then 19 is healthy weight till 24. Oops. And then 25 is overweight till 29. And then 30 is obese. Okay. So now here, if there is a separator for this value, we show the label. So I can do text. Oops. Like this, and it's gonna need some styling. font size. Let's try 14, and color, it's a bit, it has some transparency, so RGBA white, and maybe 08. Okay, let's go back to export. And in row, so flex direction row, that's good, but we need to push them, so justify content, space between. So that looks pretty good, but now we need to add some separator. So we had dash lines as separators, and so in React Native you can use use border style dash, but then it's only if you cannot apply it only to one side. So here we are going to need to build our own separator component. And how are we going to do this? I think so. We're going to switch to return here. So we're going to switch to a block, and we're going to get the PMI here. So it's from plus I. And so we're going to return maybe two elements, so React fragment, so I'm a bit okay. Give me a moment, because I'm a bit annoyed because I'm not, getting the automatic ESLint rule. So I just created the create React Native app, and I forgot to add the ESLint rule. And you see, like, I don't get the code automatically formatted. That's a bit annoying. So let me fix that quickly. So if I go to can it be done in React Native, and I take, for instance, the Instagram example, I have the ESLint rules, which I can copy here. And if I look, I need a couple of packages. Yeah, all these guys basically. Interesting. Okay, let me install these guys quickly. I mean, while this installs, I guess we can continue. Here we have so if PMI so if there is a separator and the next one is a separator as well, then we return a separator element, which we need to create. So I'm gonna import it here. Okay. I'm gonna create it here. Up. And style the style sheet. So flex direction. Row. I'm gonna use also the dimensions to get the width of the screen. And so how many dashes do we need? 100 maybe? So a dash would be maybe width divided by, I think. Let's try 50. Let's just try how it looks like. And so here we do, so we have times 50. And we return a dash. So map value index. So the key is the index, and we add some style. Which we create here. So width equals dash divided by 2, margin right equals dash divided by 2, background color equals RGBA of white with opacity 80%, and height equals 1. Do I need to restart? I need to import Lodash here. Okay, I might need to restart. So we don't see any. We do actually. We do see some separator, and I forgot to apply the styles container. Yeah, looks good. And then one thing we can do here, instead of we can change the line self here to go down and here to go up. So let's try to do that. Why? I'm trying to understand why it's not So here the ESLint rule is applied. Does it get automatically? Why it doesn't prettify automatically the code? Do I need to do something? Sorry. Is there? Okay, never mind. Okay, I can just... Let me just try to see if... Yeah, I'm not sure why it's not applied automatically, but anyways. Okay. So here we want to change the align self of the label according if it's at the top or the bottom. So align self if separator BMI plus 1 is true, is truthy, then align self is flex start, if not it's flex end. That should be good. Or the other way around. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so here we have our basic structure. So now we're gonna need to have 3 circles on top of it, and we're gonna do some animations. So now let's draw some circles. So we're gonna overlay 3 circles on top of each other. And so I'm gonna use view. So style, overlay. And we're gonna put a circle style equals. So let's call it, we have 3, so we have one which will be the main circle, one which will be the absolute, one which will contain the absolute value, one which will be the relative value, so we can call it absolute circle, relative circle, and the other one, the third one, which is the one in the opposite, so we can call it opposite circle. I'm not sure if these are great names, but let's see. So let's create absolute circle. So, and here we need to see, since we're on top of the scroll view, but we need still to be able to scroll, so we can use pointer events equals none. So this will allow us, even though this one will be absolutely positioned, it will allow us to still use the scrolling component. So this one covers all the screen, and we center the circle in the middle. So absolute fill object, and justify content center, align items center. Perfect. And then absolute circle is let's say width 100, height 100, which means border radius is 50, background color white. Okay, perfect. And you see I can still scroll because of the pointer events none. So that's good. And there is two more to draw. One which is a relative circle, which I can copy here. So it doesn't have white background, it has a white. So let me just relative circle, which has border width of 1 and it's a border color which is white. And then the third one is the opposite circle, which is much smaller, maybe 50. Let's try 50. Border radius 25, background color white. So three circles on top of each other, we can scroll, and let's animate them now. And so first I need to do animated view, animated view, animated view. We have the animation value here, so we need to create. So one is a scale and two others are translate Y. So we can try the first translate Y. So interpolate. So what is the input range? That's a good question. The input range goes, we can scroll from 0 to whatever is the height, whatever is the height of the graph minus the height of the screen, right? Let me think. So here we are at 0. And here we are at whatever is the, yeah, I think it's whatever is the height of the scroll view minus the height of the screen at this position. Let's try. And so we have the height of the row, which you can import here, row height. So that would be two minus from plus 1 times row 8 minus 8. So I'm just going to remain this guy here. And 8 we get from the dimensions module. So input range and output that unexpected token. Oh, okay. So at 0, we translate it by minus 8 divided by 2 to 8 divided by 2. Let's try. Oh, and I need to use it here. in absolute circle. So that's actually good. It's because what we will need to do later is when we start the screen, initialize to the proper value, to the proper init value. But it goes from top to bottom. That's good, and we maybe just need to add some padding. So plus padding, minus padding. That looks good, and we know the opposite one animates in the opposite direction. So oops, I need to set it here. No, it doesn't move. Why is it not moving? Oh, sorry. So that's good, and then we need to scale the one in the middle. So scale. So here we need, because we go from 1 to 0 to 1, so we need a third. So we need one value in the middle for input range, which is 1 divided by 2, which is the middle of the height of the scroll view. Oh, input range equals, and so the values are 1, maybe not 0, but let's say 0.5 or 1. And then we can use it here. Transform, scale. So that looks good. And now we need to do the line. So let's do the line. So we're also going to do in the middle, do a 1 pixel square, and then we're going to scale it in Y. So, and it's going to be centered. So we're going to call it line, and it's going to be a scale Y here. And I don't know, background color white, 8 equals Or to make it maybe simpler, if here the smallest height of the middle circle is 0.5 of 50 is 25, so it can be the minimum height here can be 25, width is 1, that's good. And now we need to scale y. Yeah, perfect. Actually, I can just reuse this guy here. And so we go to height minus, let's say, padding times 2 to... No, what am I doing? It needs to be to 25 to... And then this one is height is 1 pixel. Let's see. Yeah, that looks good. That looks very good. And I need to move the line below in terms of order. And for the relative circle, put the background, some background color. Oh, the relative circle, sorry. So background color is what we set here. Okay. All right, so we have something already. Now let's set some values. So listen to the animated value and set some values into the circles. So we're gonna need to set some refs. So we're gonna use some text input. Again, we use text input because we can use set native props to set the... it's a way we can have set some text using set native props, so text input. And so we're gonna put it for the relative circle. And same for the absolute circle. So we're going to need to create some refs to be able to set these values using set native props. So ref equals relative input and ref equals absolute input. Should call it value, maybe it's better. Okay. And when component mounts, we listen to the values. So add listener. And we need to clean up on component will unmount. I assume it's remove listener. Yeah, remove listener. Return the string that serves an identifier as a listener, remove listener ID. So that's good. And so listener is a string. Undefined is not an object. Oh, it's y, sorry. And now we need to create the update method. We get the value as parameter. So now we have a scrolling value. We need to get the BMI, and get the BMI, get the number of kilos from BMI, and then put it using set native props. And so, yeah, I'm gonna use, I think it's like actually simple math, but I really just like for this kind of scenario use deFreeScale, because we just might be, overkill for just this example, but if the example becomes more complex, you already have it. I think it's just a nice utility to use deFreeScale for this. Oops, yarn add. And deFreeScale, we used it in, which example was it? Snacks, we used it in the Revolut chart. So I should just, we used it in the Revolut episode. Yeah, so we can use scale linear. So this will allow us to easily go from scrolling values to BMI and vice versa. So here we can calculate the BMI. I mean, we already did it here actually. And then this allows us to create the scale BMI from scale linear. So we can do scale linear. The domain goes from 0 to the maximum scrolling value, which is this one. I'll need to clean this up later because there is some redundancy on my constructor and the render method. And the range goes from 2 to from. No, at 0 we are at 2, and then from for the minimum value. I mean, let's just debug it. Console log. So this one should give us a scrolling value. Let's see. Scale this, scale BMI. Let's just try, see what happens. Syntax error, okay. Yeah, that looks good. BMI 36, because that's, I'm right with 36 and a half, so it's like 26 and a half plus 10. So this part looks great. I'm just noticing that on the scroll view, the order is reversed. So do I just need to do a reverse here? Sorry. Reverse. My laptop seems a bit capricious. What's going on? Okay. Oh, okay, that's really strange, because now this one seems to be okay. Seems to be lagging like crazy. Not sure. Okay. Well, anyways, so yeah, QuickTime is lagging like crazy, but no, that's underweight. Something is screwed up here. And then flex start. Obese, overweight, healthy weight, underweight. Yeah, perfect. QuickTime is lagging like crazy, but okay, should be good. I think my laptop starts to let me just pause this and get some battery. I need some battery. Okay guys, so I got some charger. I think that's why at some point like my laptop was getting super slow and the QuickTime was like very laggy. Okay, so we know how to get the BMI. So from a scrolling value, we can get the BMI. Is that invert? Let's see if we can log the BMI now for any scrolling value. Cannot find. Oops, sorry. So let's see. Yeah, no, that's not good. BMI 37, that's good. 16, 17, that's perfect. That's great. So here we have the BMI. And we need to go from BMI to weight. So we have the weight, default weight, height from the props. So if BMI equals weight divided by 8, 8, then the weight equals BMI times 8 square. So let's try. And so this would be the absolute value, and then the relative value would be this minus the default weight. Let's try. So this relative value current, because we use create ref, set native props, text equals relative, and then absolute. Can create absolute here. Let's have a look. Yeah, that looks good. We need to do some rounding. And so actually we do times 2 divided by 2 because we want only to have 0, 5 increments. And same here. Oh no, here I don't need to do anything actually. Perfect. We need, so the way the number blink is a bit annoying. So this can be fixed. I think I can use 2 fixed 1. No, how does it work? 2? Oh no, 1, but also here as well. And we can add some styling to these values. So for relative circle and absolute circle, we need to do some centering. Relative circle, absolute circle. So justify content center, align item center. And we need to style the inputs. Actually, they should be the same, I think. Ah, no, sorry. They have different styling. Relative value, absolute value. So, absolute value color is this guy. Font size, I have no idea, let's try 24. And relative value, same font size, but color white. Let's have a look. Yes. Wow, the error message here is pretty smart. Pretty cool. Okay. So if I go to 24, yeah, plus 32 kilos, nice. So that looks very good. And I think one more step here is to, so you see when we start, we need to set the proper default value, right? Because here it doesn't display anything and it starts like, yeah, that's not good at all. So here we need to start, we need to set the proper default scroll value. So here this is why you see we're using different scale is convenient, because now here we're going to be able to go from BMI to scroll value. So we can use this scale BMI. I love D3. And we have the BMI. So that should set the default. Yeah, for the scrolling animation, that's correct. So you see now the circles are in the middle. And last step, when component didn't mount and the scroll view is rendered, we need to scroll to whatever the BMI position is at this point. Because this only configures the interpolation to be correct at the right values, but not the scroll itself here is at position 0. And so this is what we need to change. And for this, we can use interaction manager, run after interactions. I mean, yeah, I can just maybe. And so we have the scroll view, and it's wrapped into an animation component. So to get the reference of the proper scroll view, we use get node, and then I can use scroll to y animated force. And y is can I do, I'm wondering if I can do state y slash something like get value on animated value. I mean, if not, it's okay, I can just recompute. I mean, I have the value anyways, but is there something like, so you can do add listener underscore value. Yeah, I was wondering if this is possible to do get value like this. Let's try. Syntax error, yes. No, but let me just log this guy. And then we need to do something else. Once we have the y value, we need to set the proper values in the circle. So we're gonna call this update with the scroll value. So value is y. But let's see. Yeah, so y is undefined, that doesn't work. Can I try underscore value maybe? No, okay. That's okay. I should really clean this up, but I'm just gonna copy. I have a lot of redundancy here, which I need to clean up. But we know that this is the value y equals. shouldn't do any rounding here. Same here actually. So 84 kilos, that's good. BMI 27, that's good. Perfect. Very cool. I think it looks pretty nice. Maybe one thing, you can just change the order of the circle. So the opposite circle would go on top of the relative one. Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty good. And maybe the last thing we can do is to add the welcome screen. So we can add to the state initialized, which is going to be a boolean. So it's false at the beginning, and when we update, so the first time we call update manually, so here we don't want to set initialize to be true. So we can set, actually we can set true. We can call it init. So if init is false, it means it's been triggered by, this has been triggered by the user, not us. So we can do set state initialized equals true. So that's good. And then if, so we have initialized here. So if initialized is false, we show this modal. So and I think we're just gonna create a view again, absolutely positioned. So let me copy the overlay rule. And so we need to add some background color. No, what's going on here? If init is false, just so init is true. So then, yeah, initialize is set to true. Here it should be false, and therefore it shouldn't be displayed. Why? Let me Okay, problem somewhere else, yeah. Okay. Welcome. So welcome screen disappears. Perfect. And now we need in the welcome screen simply to display the main, this main bubble, which we can copy absolute value, which we can copy here, just this guy actually. And we're gonna change the reference. Let me just, okay. So you see you have the welcome screen here. And now we just need to show the value. So welcome value. And I can remove this guy. And if init equals true, so if we trigger manually this method, can remove this guy as well. Then we can set the value in. Okay, so you see here you have the welcome screen. I start scrolling. It's like, you know, perfect. So exactly like on the app. So yeah, I guess it was doable in React Native. I hope you guys found this example useful. I'm gonna add the snack of this example in the video description. Let me know what you think, and I will talk to you guys soon. So see you soon. Bye.